Hey guys, so today we're going to solve some example problems of the chain rule. So if you haven't checked out that video, do so now. Alright, so let's get started. What is the chain rule? The chain rule says that if you take the derivative, d over dx, which is just a fancy way of saying the derivative, of a nested function, right? So gx is a function inside of f of x. Then the answer is f prime, so the derivative of the outside function with the inside function not being touched, times the derivative of the inside function, right? Might sound confusing, but with an example you'll figure it out real quick. So let's say our function is f of x equals 6x squared plus 7x to the fourth. Now, in this case, 6x squared plus 7x is the gx, right? It's the inside function. And the outside function, the f, is everything else, the parentheses to the fourth, right? So let's take the derivative. So let's do d over dx of all this, and that equals, first we take the derivative of the outside function. So it would be 4, you open the parenthesis, right, because we take the power. We rewrite the inside function, g of x, we just rewrite 6x squared plus 7x. And now we write 3 here, right, because we lower the power by 1 and put it out. And now we multiply by the derivative of the inside function, right, the g of x. So g prime of x in this case is what? 12x plus 7, right? Does that make sense? So we have two functions. The inside function is 6x squared plus 7x, the g of x right here, and the outside function, the f, is the parentheses to the fourth. And when we take the derivative, first we take the derivative of the outside function, the f prime is just the 4 of the inside mess to the third, right, times g prime, the derivative of the inside function, 12x plus 7, right? Let's try another example. Let's say we have f of x equals 2 times the sine of 3x plus tangent x. We do the same thing here. So if we take the derivative, d over dx, what do we get? Well, first we take the derivative of the outside function. In this case, it's 2 times sine of something, right? Because the inside function, the g of x, is this whole mess, the argument of the sine. So the derivative of sine is obviously cosine. So we do 2 cosine, and we rewrite g of x. We rewrite the inside function, 3x plus tangent of x. And now we multiply by g prime, the derivative of the inside function. And that would be what? 3 plus, wait a minute, what's the derivative of tangent, right? Now we can just look it up and we know that it's secant squared, but let's actually take the derivative because this is a very common problem in Calc 1, right? So we know that tangent is what? It's sine x over cosine of x, right? And the derivative, when you divide, the definition is u prime v minus uv prime divided by v squared, right? And in this case, we have what? Sine is u and cosine is v. So let's do this. So sine, the derivative of sine, u prime, is cosine of x times v. V is also cosine. So cosine of x times cosine of x minus, we have u, which is just sine of x, times v prime. And v prime, the derivative of cosine, is minus sine. So we just make this a plus times sine of x divided by v squared. V is cosine, so this would just be cosine squared of x, right? And if we put this together, we have cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x divided by cosine squared of x. Now, what is sine squared plus cosine squared? It's an identity, right? We know that sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1, right? From the unit circle. So this is really just 1 over cosine of x or secant squared. All right, does that make sense? So getting back to this, we took our f prime, right? We have the 2 cosine of the argument because the derivative of sine is cosine. We rewrote the inside function g, which is 3x plus tangent, and now we multiply by g prime. And the derivative of 3x is 3, and we just calculated the derivative of tangent, which is secant squared. So we just pop that in here, secant squared of x. And that's it. Those are a couple examples of the chain rule. It's pretty simple. Just to reiterate everything. First, you take the derivative of the outside function. You go from the outside in. In the first example, the outside function was the parentheses to the 4th. So we took that derivative. We have 4 parentheses to the 3rd power times the derivative of the inside function. In the first case, it was 6x squared plus 7x. So it's the derivative of that, obviously, is 12x plus 7. And in the second example, it's the same thing. The outside function is sine, so we take the derivative of sine and get cosine with the inside function not changing, then multiplying by the derivative of the inside function. That's it. That's all you do every time. And even if you have multiple functions, you follow this rule. You go from the outside in. You take the derivative, rewrite the argument, multiply by the derivative of the argument, and you just keep going and going and going. But usually you don't see too many of those functions, and if you do, just whip out Wolfram Alpha. But on a calc test, this is what you need to do, and as you can see, it's pretty simple. So I hope you guys like this video. Check out our other content, click subscribe, click like, and stay geekly, my friends.